Hello everyone. My name is Prachi and today I am here with a new topic that is ratio and proportion for grade 6 NCERT book. I have used many examples from the same book. So let's start with this chapter. So before we start this chapter, we should understand what is ratio because that is our chapter. What is ratio? Ratio is a comparison between two quantities which are of same type. Okay, that means, for example, if I take here a fruit basket has 8 mangoes in it and 12 oranges. Okay, so you can see here I am comparing the same quantity, that is we are counting the numbers, we are comparing the numbers of fruits, even though fruits are different, but we are counting their numbers. For example, if I say I am not comparing number of mangoes and cost of oranges, can you see the difference? So I am comparing their numbers, which is of say, which is like same type, right? So in a basket there are 8 mangoes and 12 oranges. Now how to find the ratio? Now there are two ways of finding ratio here. Like for example, if I say ratio ratio of mangoes to oranges. If you see this statement, then you want first number of mangoes. Okay, so first you should write 8 because that's the mangoes number 8. And then how do we write ratio? That is with these two dots. Right? 8 is to how many oranges are there? 12 oranges are there. So yes, this is our ratio of mangoes to oranges, right? And ratios can always be in simplified form. Now you must have learned what is simplified form or the lowest form in fractions. It's same here also. So if I take 8 by 12, can you simplify this? So if I simplify it, it is 4 times 2 is 8 and 4 times 3 is 12. So we have got this ratio as 2 is to 3. 2 is to 3. So 2 is to 3 is our simplified and this is called now ratio. Okay, so whatever ratios you get, you must simplify it to get to the final answer. Now as I said that there are two types over here, how to that totally depends on what question is asking you. Here the question was ratio of mangoes to orange. Now I can have a ratio of orange to mangoes. Now the numbers will go opposite. That is ratio of orange. So first I need the orange number. How many oranges are there in our fruit basket? 12. Is to, again, this is our ratio. Is to, how many mangoes are there in our basket? That is 8. Okay. Again we need simplified form of this. So let's again do it like 12 by 8. Again it is divided by 4. 4 times 3 is 12 and 4 times 2 is 8. So our ratio is now 3 is to 2. Can you see the difference now? So these you need to completely focus on the question which ratio they are asking. There will be two quantities which will be compared. So you need to find out which number they are asking first. According to that, it's your ratio. And what we have seen here, again, let's just have a quick recap of it, that it totally depends on which number they are asking first. Make the ratio and get its simplified form, get its lowest form. And that's how we can this is just introduction of ratios. Now let's see the next topic. Now there are some steps which we need to follow, or rules we need to follow when you are dealing with ratios. First is ratio should be in the same unit. Okay, ratio should be always in the same unit. For example, if I say there is a person. Okay, a person goes to school from his house, and the time he takes is 15 minutes. So A takes 15 minutes to reach school from his house, and B takes 1 hour. Now you must have understood that I am comparing these two, like basically the base of the ratio is I am comparing the same quantity again, right? Same type again. I am comparing their time taken to reach to school. So this is same, but you can see they are not in the same unit here. So first we need to make them in same unit. So either you convert this 15 minutes into hour, or you can compare 1 hour into minutes. So this is the easiest way. So convert this 1 hour into minutes. So 1 hour is equal to how many minutes? Yes, 60 minutes. And then 15 minutes is already in the minutes unit. Okay, now we can compare. Now again, if the ratio is asked like A to B, what is the time taken by A to the time taken by B? That is A is to B. Okay, so A is to B means A takes 15 minutes, B takes 60 minutes. So this is our ratio, but is it yet complete? No, you need to convert it into lowest form of it. So lowest form 15 by 60. Now as you can see, you can convert this into a lowest form by directly dividing it by 15. Okay, but many if you have still not memorized the tables, multiplication tables, so you can also go uh, with the lower unit, okay, with the lower factor. So we can divide it by 5 times 3, 15. 5 ones are 5 and 5 twos are 10. So this is how you get, and now you can see you can still divide them. Yeah, that's called the lowest form. You should divide it until you get the situation where you cannot divide anymore. So 3 ones are 3 and 3 fours are 12. So this is how I got my ratio as 1 is to 4. This is the ratio, right? Okay. Now suppose if the ratio asked is ratio between B to A. Okay. So we have seen A to B, now B to A. So you can see what is the time taken by B. Time taken by B is 60 and time taken by A is 15 minutes. So our ratio is now, again we need to simplify this, and we have already done the simplification of it. So our answer will be now 4 is to 1. So I think I made it pretty clear. Let's have just a quick recap of this, that a ratio should be always in the same unit, and you need to read question properly, that the ratio asked in that question is A to B or B to A. That matters a lot, and that is how your ratio will be different. Okay, now the next topic is equivalent ratio. Equivalent ratio. Now what are equivalent ratio? Now you must have learned this equivalent term in fractions. So if you are done that in a fractions, it's the easiest thing. So if I take it in the ratio, it works the same way. If I take it in the ratio, for example, if I say equal, mean equivalent term has an equal word in it. So you know equal is what? Same, isn't it? So if I give you this ratio 6 is to 4 and 6 is to 4, can you say these are equivalent? They are equal, yes, obviously they are equivalent too. But now suppose if I give you these ratios like 12 is to 8 and 3 is to 2. Now the numbers are not equal, okay, but that is not how equivalent term works. it does not mean that just equal you should get the same number. So you can see the numbers are different here, but if we get to its lowest form, okay, lowest form very much important. We have used it in the previous question also. So 12 upon 8, 12 by 8, lowest form. Can you tell me how can we divide it? The highest factor, highest common factor between them is 4. So 4 times 3 is 12 and 4 times 2 is 8. So the ratio here is 3 is to 2, which is our second ratio, right? So you can see the value of this 12 is to 8 and the 3 is to 2 is same. That's why they are equivalent ratio. So this is the quickest method that you can convert your ratio into its lowest form. And if the another ratio is also, if given for example 6 is to 4, you can convert that also into lowest form. 6 into 4, highest common factor is 2, so 2 times 3 is 6 and 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so you can see here also we have got 3 is to 2. 3 is to 2. So these all the fractions which I have written here, they are equivalent to each other. Why? Because their value is same, that is 3 is to 2. So now we have learned what is this equivalent ratio. Now there are different ways. I will tell you in the next topic how to find out the missing number from the equivalent ratio. So before that, let's move towards the next topic, that is proportion, because our chapter's name is ratio and proportion. So yes, our next topic is proportion. Proportion. Yes. Now what is proportion? Proportion, quantity, what we can say, in ratio we have compared two quantities of same type. Now in proportion we will be comparing two ratios. Okay. So proportion is nothing but the comparison between two ratios. So for example, ratio we denote like by these two dots, isn't it? But in proportion we denote it like with four dots. Or simply we also can put equal sign between two ratios. So by all these means we want to say that those ratios are equivalent or those ratios are equal. Okay, so let's take example, that is, suppose if we take 16 is to 24 and 20 is to 30. So what do we need to do? We need to first of all get to their lowest form to understand whether they are really equal. Okay, so 16 by 24, highest common factor is 4, so we'll divide both by 4. 4 times 4 is 16 and 4 times 6 is 24. Okay, so we can still divide it. So highest common factor was 8. So there's absolutely no problem. If you do not know the highest common factor, you can start from the lowest common factor and keep dividing until you get the lowest form. So 2 times 2 is 4 and 2 times 3 is 6. So we have got our lowest form here, 2 is to 3. Right? And then let's see the lowest form of this, 20 by 30. Lowest form of it is 10 times 2 is 20 and 10 times 3 is 30. You can see that again we have got the same value of these ratios. So when you get same value of the ratio, that means they are in proportion. So we can say 16 is to 24 and 20 is to 30 are in proportion. Okay, now there are many question comes where you need to find the missing term. So let's take example of such questions. Okay, so for example, if they have given you 5 is to something, it is missing. Okay, and they are in proportion with 25 is to 30. Okay, now we need to find out the missing numbers. But what information we have? We have three quantities, and we also know that they are in proportion. Okay, so first is you can find it out by, let's see the new method here. Okay, so when we have four quantities in a proportion, we have names given to it, like these two terms are called middle terms, middle terms, and these two terms are called extreme terms, extreme terms. Okay, now why did I write all these names? Because the middle terms, multiplication or the product of middle terms should be equal to the product of extreme terms. Let's see how. Okay, I said product of middle terms. Okay, so if I say we do not know this missing number, let's just label it as a x. Okay, so x times 25 equal to which two other numbers are there? Extreme terms are 5 times 30. Let's see their product. X times 25 will be remaining as it is, and then 5 times 30 will make it 150. Now you need to find it out. 25. X, value of x we are finding. So 25 will go to the other side in the division operation, because right now it's in multiplication operation, right? So it's like 150 divided by 25, and you can divide, you can get the lowest form of it. That is, actually it is like 25 times 6. Okay, but let's go by smaller factors. So if we divide both of these terms by 5, 5 times 3 is 15 and 0. 5 times 5 is 20. 5 times 6 is 30, and our x is 6. Okay, so our missing number is 6. Got it? This is one technique where the product of middle terms is equal to the product of extreme terms. Okay, then there is a one more method which is called cross multiplication. Okay, so cross multiplication, if I take example like suppose same example, okay, let me take it by 5, and then you need to write them in, we are doing the same technique actually. We are multiplying the middle terms, which is equal to the product of extreme terms. We are doing the same thing but in the fraction form. So 5 upon something, and then 25 upon 30. These are what examples, right? Okay, so let's just cross multiplying them. So you can see we will be we will be dealing again here with the same product. Okay, so we will be multiplying our missing factor, that is x. Okay, so 20x times 25 is equal to 5 times 30. Okay, so again it's 25, x is equals to 150. So x equals to 150 divided by 25, which gives us answer x is equals to 6 again. Okay, so these two are just different, not different ways, same ways actually. You are multiplying the same numbers here, but one in when they are in a proportion form, that is to form. So you need to multiply middle term and that product should be equal to the product of extreme terms. So these are the two ways where you can find the missing numbers. And now let's move towards the next topic of ours. Okay, and our next topic is unitary method. So it is unitary method. Now what is unitary method? What is the meaning of unit? Unit means one, right? You have learnt it from your lower grades that unit means one. So now what is this unitary method? The method in which first we find one unit and then value of required number of units we will be finding out. So first we need to find the value or share or a part of 1, and then we can find it out the required or asked quantity of that type. Okay, let's take some example. So suppose there are 5 books and their cost is 250 rupees. Okay, 250 rupees. So if I ask you, if the question is just like find the cost of 10 books, then it's very simple. What will you do? You will just multiply it by 2, isn't it? When I ask 10 books, that means you are supposed to multiply it by which number? Yes, double the quantity. 250 times 2, that is 500. Right? So but questions are not always this simple. They will not always ask you double, triple or half of the amount. Sometimes questions are like find out the value of or cost of 8 books. Now your half, double, triple, 4 times will not work in such situation. So this is where unitary method is used. So we need to find, if we find cost of one book, then it is very easy for us to find out how many number of books they ask you, right? Here also, if we find out the cost of one book, then we will be able to find out the cost of 8 books. So how to find the cost of one book? Now 5 books cost is 250, right? So many students I have seen get confused whether you need to multiply some places or you need to divide. Okay, very simple to understand. So 5 books cost is 250. You need to find the one, right? One book, cost of one book. So you're reducing it, isn't it? You're making it small. So now as we are finding the unitary method here, we will not be using additions and subtraction. So major 4 operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. We will not be using addition and subtraction here, right? Okay, so just think about multiplication and division. So if you are reducing a quantity, you for 5 books is given, you are reducing it to 1. So what do you think? Multiplication will be useful or division? In multiplication, the number increases, but in division, number decreases. So naturally, you will be dividing the two numbers. So when you divide 250 by 5, okay, these are the two quantities given to you. So you will be dividing them to find out the cost of one book. Cost of 5 books divided by number of books. So answer will be 5 times 5 is 25, 0. So cost of one book we got is 50. Right? So this is per book we got the cost, that is 50 rupees. Now if cost of one book is 50 rupees, cost of 8 books is what? Okay, you will say very simple, 8 times 50, right? But some of the students again get confused whether to multiply here, whether to divide. So for them, let me again tell you the same trick which we use. So right now you are dealing with a quantity 1 and you are asking for 8. That means the quantity is increasing, isn't it? So what did I say? There are just 2 operations we are using here. So by which quantity we increase the proportion or increase the quantity? Yes, multiplication. And that's why to find out the cost of 8 books, we need to multiply cost of one book times 8. Now what is the answer? 50 times 8 is, how you need to do this is also simple tricks about these multiplication. You need to just multiply first digits. So 5 times 8 is 40 and then 0 as it is 400. So cost of 8 books is 400 rupees. Easier one. So let's just have it's very simple method. I have given many small tricks to understand. Some of the students get confused, so to understand those, to remove those, to minimize those mistakes. Okay, so unitary method is the method where we first of all find out the cost of one quantity, one item, and then we find out the required quantity. So cost of 5 books here were 250. Okay, to find out 8 books, we need to first get the cost of one book. which we got by dividing the cost of 5 books by the number of books, that is 5. So we got the cost of one book, that is 50 rupees. Now cost of one book is 50 rupees, then cost of 8 books. To find out that, you just need to multiply 50 times 8. And that's how you got your answer, that is rupees 400 is the cost of 8 books. Now students, let's move towards the next topic. So the next topic is some of the practice questions we'll take, because I have covered most of the important topic, but I'll just cover still more some of the examples which are not covered over here. So suppose now if we have to, the question is, divide rupees 60, divide rupees 60 in the ratio 1:2 between Kirti and Kiran. Kirti and Kiran. Right? So the amount is given and you need to divide this amount in some ratio, that is 1:2 ratio between these two girls, Kirti and Kiran. So first of all, we need to find out number of parts. Okay, we are supposed to find out it by number of parts. So number of parts are here, 1:2. So basically Kirti's part and Kiran's part, if we add, it will be 1 plus 2. So total there are 3 parts. So let me tell you now in this situation in two different ways. So if we have 3 rupees, okay, for example, if we have 3 rupees, then 1 rupee will go to Kirti and 2 rupees will go to Kiran. This is how these parts are. Or I can say right now it was in a rupees, but if we want to make a generalized statement, then that means if total parts are 3, 1 part is for Kirti and 2 parts are for Kiran. So this is how you need to first of all find out the total parts, right? Now for Kiran, if I say Kiran's or Kirti's share first, let's see Kirti's part. So for Kirti's part, that means we have out of total parts are 3. Out of total, Kirti's part is 1, right? So her part is 1/3. That means if total parts are 3, we are saying 1 part is for Kirti, right? So this is the ratio or a fraction for Kirti's part. Now Kiran's part. So Kiran's part will be out of 3 parts. How many parts for Kiran? That is 2 parts. So her ratio or her fraction is 2/3. Okay. Now, what is the amount that we have to divide? It is 60. We need to divide the 60 amount between these two girls in this ratio. 1:2. Right. So when we say we need 1/3 part of 60. 1/3 part of 60. So whenever they say of, it is always 1/3 multiplied by 60. Whenever it is of, it's always multiplication. So you need to divide this, simplify this, divide both of these terms by 3. So 3 times 2 and then 20. 20 times 3 is 60. So when we say Kirti's part is 1/3 of 60, that means she will get rupees 60. Sorry, 20. Rupees 20. 60 is the total. She won't get total. Rupees 20 is her share out of 60. Let's see Kiran's part now. So when we say 2/3 of 60, then we need to make it like 2/3 times 60. Simplify it again. 3. 20 times 3 is 60. Now here we have 2 times 20, that is 40. So Kiran's share out of 60 is 40. You can see Kirti's share is 20 plus Kiran's share is 40, that makes it 60. So this is how you are supposed to complete such kind of questions. Very simple. Let's take another example. So our next example is here. Breadth of some hall is given in meters and length of the hall is also given in meters. So you can see in meters is written, that means we are comparing the quantity. So they are supposed to be in the same unit. They are right now, they are in meters. So in meters, the breadth of the hall is 10 meters and the length of the hall is 25 meters here, right? So they haven't asked the question here, but I can ask, what is the proportion? What is the proportion? What is the ratio of their breadth and length? So it is 10 by 25. So simplify it. 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 5 is 25. So they are in ratio, breadth and length of the hall are in the ratio of 2:5. Right? Simple. Okay. So now let's find out the missing numbers. We need to find out the missing numbers. So when breadth of the hall is 10, and length of the hall is 25, we need to find out the next number, that is this one is missing, okay, and 50 is given. Okay. Now can you tell me how do you get 50 from 25? Here it was 25, right? So how can you get 50? By multiplying 2. And in fraction or in ratios also, so if you are multiplying any denominator or any quantity by any number, you have to do the same thing with other number, right? So if you're multiplying by 2 to the denominator, you have to multiply numerator also by 2. So 10 times 2 is 20. So your missing number, very simple, is 20, right? Now you can see your ratio is now 20 by 50 and the next number is again missing. And missing in the sense, you have here numerator is given, that is 40. Right? Now how can you get 40 from 20? Correct? Again by multiplying it by 2. So if you are multiplying numerator by 2, you have to multiply denominator also by 2. So 50 times 2 is 100. So simple, your missing number is 100. So this is how some of the questions you get where in a ratio, in a fraction, some numbers are missing. So by finding out if they are in, obviously it is given in the table form, so they are in a proportion and that's why it is given. So if they are in equivalent proportion, you need to just find out what is the missing number. So I hope we have covered most of the topics and we have taken some of the examples also to explain the topic. I hope it will help you in studies. And if there are any more doubts, you can comment below and I will solve your doubts. And yes, so here I am signing off, Prachi, and we will be seeing you with a new topic. Until then, bye-bye.